Good. Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to another Solution Sunday because the soul is the solution. We are souls in physical bodies, here to experience our creations in physical form. And today we are going to be talking about a brand new creation that has come into physical form from creator, producer, director, writer, editor-in-chief, Keith Leon S., with his new documentary film called The Inside Effects: How the Body Heals Itself. Welcome, Keith.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What an introduction.
Hey, however it rolls off the tongue is what you get, right?
The king of everything.
Well, you conceived this movie from thin air and you got it all shot, filmed, then edited. You worked in the editing process, you worked on the directing, you worked in every single aspect of this film, bringing it to fruition. So you need to have credit for all of that.
Yes.
So tell
Yes.
us about the film.
Wow. Where to even start? Uh,
Where did it start? How did you come up with this idea?
well, I came up with the idea of being a filmmaker when I was a kid. So that was always going to happen. And then what to do the film about? That question came about just about, has it been a year and a half, something like that, year and a half ago. uh, I knew that I wanted to make my first film, so what would that film be about? And then I knew that I wanted to introduce you and your work to the world, and so I could combine those two, right? And make a film about the body's ability to heal itself, introduce um, the world to you and my friends and people that I had heard of along the way who are difference makers as well. And so yeah, it was let's make a film about the body's ability to heal itself. Okay, I know Lisa's in it, I know Karen's in it, so who else would be in it? Right? And so just kept asking questions and waiting for the answers and receiving the answers and then acting upon those answers. And in doing so, ended up with an incredible film, beautiful project with the most stunning list of experts and cast members and team members, even down to finding the perfect editor. It was a blessed project from day one, and obvious, right? Obviously so, because a lot of these big name folks that I reached out to that are in this film, I didn't know before. Right? And I reached out to them and told them about the project, and they said yes. And that's how I always know I'm on course when I'm getting yes answers from people I've never met. Right? So I just kept following one step at a time. And before I knew it, the film was edited and it was time to figure out how to get this out to the world.
That is so exciting. It's not every day that people's childhood dreams actually come to fruition.
Yeah.
So how do you think you were able to make that happen?
Mm. Whew. Well, that really goes back to childhood as well. I think I had a mom that just barely even got out of bed. I had no father. I had no guidance. Between you and me, I had no guidance, and so so I needed something, and and I'm not sure which came first, but I did start hearing my guardian angel's voice, literally hearing the voice of my guardian angel, which kept me out of harm's way, which really was my teacher and taught me so many things. And then around the same time, I saw the original movie Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and there were so many parallels of my life with that movie. And my mom never get out of bed, just like the grandparents never got out of bed, being poor, just like Charlie. All of that was so similar. And so at the end, when he just kind of uh, won everything, and it was his affirmation of, I'm going to get this golden ticket. Like, he knew, and his faith couldn't be swayed no matter what. He just believed he was going to get it. Even when they said there isn't a ticket left, he still believed he was going to get the ticket, and he did. So it was just like, wow, it happens as you believe. Affirmations work. And then at the end, he won the whole factory because he was honest, and because he was honest, And so there was so many pieces that I really caught as a child. And by the end of that film, I was just like, okay, okay. So I want to live to prove that these things are true, right? That it happens as we believe, and that we are actually in creators. And so those were, some of the questions I went to my guardian angel with and got counseled on and in. And that's just what I've been about ever since. Then I was, at one point I was a teenager, right? Got into smoking pot, all that stuff, kind of pushed it aside, forgot for a while. There were times in my life when I kind of turned my back on that or forgot. But I always came back, always came back. And so my dream was 20s, 30s rock star, 40s best-selling author, speaker, 50s film. And I've done that. I've done all of it. So why not? Why wouldn't film also play a role in my dream that I made up so long ago, and have been creating all of it ever since.
That's so exciting. I love it. So,
Yeah.
the subtitle, how the body heals itself. Did you always know that the body could heal itself?
Well, I talk about it in the film right in the introduction that my aunt got a pretty nasty diagnosis when I was 7, 8 years old, and told she had a couple weeks to live, and she completely reversed that in the couple weeks that she was told that she had to live, and ended up doing that twice. Even later, they tried to give her something else, and she shook it off. No thanks, and cured
I love it.
that, healed that as well. So as far as like cancer, yeah, I knew that was absolutely could be reversed because I saw evidence of it, and because of that, I never was afraid of it. That word never had the fear that so many have when they just even hear the word.
Mhm.
I didn't have that, but I didn't, in my young mind, apply it to everything. Right? I didn't. I didn't realize that as a child that I didn't have to have these ear infections and colds, and appearance of colds and things that came up. I hadn't put all that together yet. I didn't know some of the things that I've learned, even up to the making of this film. That's the beautiful part about this film is yes, it's edgy. Yes, we introduce some things that maybe you'd never even heard of, right? I know I learned so much because the more that I was interviewing experts, the more I found out, and the more I found out, some of that were things that I just didn't simply know before. But the good news is I wasn't just speaking to someone who had a theory about something. These are the experts of that very thing, on those very things. So with proof, right? So nobody was just like making anything up or having a theory or thinking anything. These are factual things that I simply didn't know, and so for me, it was an education. This whole project, and I've learned so much, and look forward to all the folks who will just watch this film like I did as I shot it, right? And just with an open mind, open heart, and just willing to learn a few things along the way that I didn't know, right? Because I felt like if I came in strictly focused on what I believe, then now the film has an agenda, right? Now I have some desired outcome or attachment, uh, or I'm trying to point people a certain way, and I really didn't want to have anything to do with that. I just wanted to come in neutral, ask questions, see what I could learn, and because of that, I learned a lot.
That's beautiful. So, how
Yeah.
did you find the experts that are in this film?
Well, first I interviewed you and Karen and
Dr.
Deanna,
Karen Can.
Dr. Karen Can, and Deanna, up here in the Adirondack Mountains where I am right now,
Yeah, Deanna Courtney
and
is a German new medicine practitioner.
yeah, thank you for that. And and I asked all of you who should I be interviewing, and then also Mara, my wife Mara, had really been researching a lot of things ever since they decided to shut the world down, and she was like, "What's that about?" and really started a deep dive into all questions regarding that and more. And so between the four of you, I had a lot of great recommendations. And then it seems like each of those people that I interviewed, once they heard the questions and really got a sense of what we were doing with the film, then each of those people were like, you know who you need to talk to. And so I just kept getting recommendations to the most incredible people, and then eventually I just had to stop, right? Because I could have kept going on and on and on and on, but I found myself had 29 people already, and that's a heck of a lot of video to edit down to a 2 hour film. So I had to stop eventually, and so we ended up with 29 experts in the film, and then upon completion of that film, which does tackle about four main subjects in the film. Uh, and because I wanted something focused specifically on, now I just watched the film. Great, I'm totally on board. I want to take control of my life, or I want to reverse the diagnosis, or I want to. Then it was like, how do I offer the very next step? And so I created a book, and I was able to reach out to other experts that wasn't able to have in the film, right? And get their expertise as well. So let's see, 19 plus 29 is a lot of incredibly awesome teachers, right? To learn from, and and for me, I learned from you, right? Which is, so it all comes back to that, right? With my own personal healing experience, and that's what put me on the path of the film, was having my own personal healing experience, and working with you and Karen, and then ultimately you helped me reframe my stinking thinking, really, to change my story about that I was continually perpetuating this story, which was continually perpetuating this pain that had been with me for so long, and to retell the story in a completely different way, to realize that everything I know is wrong when it came to traditional teachings, right? That pain actually is healing. Like, that was a huge one. When you're in pain, that actually means you're healing. What? Right? Revelation. Oh, how can it be? Right? And then
Yeah.
you were like, here's this tip, here's that tip, do this, do that. And I did. And then it changed everything. So it was like, oh my God, the world must know about this.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
so that does come up in the film too. Uh, it's not like I said, so I'm going to push that particular one thing agenda out to the world. It's just what created the spark, created the idea that ended up being this film. So it really all happened so organically, and that's what I love, organically and neutrally. That's the word I'd like to use, neutrally.
Beautiful. It just flowed like water. Love it.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he said, you used a phrase, said everything I knew is wrong. And when I was in college, at the cafeteria, one of the favorite pastimes apparently was to like take a fork and dig into the cafeteria tray and leave your mark on the cafeteria tray. And I remember one day getting my tray and sitting down, and I looked at the tray, and it engraved into the tray with a fork was everything you know is wrong. And I thought, well, now there's a great waste of education right there at the time. But then come around another 20, 30 years later, and all of a sudden I thought, oh my gosh, that guy was right. Whoever that was right. Everything we know is wrong. It's everything we've learned has been backwards.
Mm.
Especially when it comes to healing our bodies. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that we really don't know what's true from what's false anymore? And why would we have been taught wrong?
Well, that's one of the questions I definitely asked in the film. So if you go to theinsideeffects.com, you can watch the trailer and sign up for the movie there. Um, yeah, so why is it that you think we are taught things that aren't necessarily in our health's best interest? That was a question that I was very, very curious about and wanted to ask people who were the experts. And that's the thing. I don't claim to be the expert of anything. I have personal experience, but I don't have all the initials behind my name that a lot of people in this film have. Uh, and so, could there be a motive to keep us sick? Is one of the lines in the trailer, and something that I wanted to explore. You know, I know that there is a belief that the government, the media, uh, have our best interest in mind, right? I mean, if it's on TV, it must be true. I'm sure the government wants me to be healthy, and those huge conglomerate, massive corporations, I'm sure they want me healthy. But I just was seeing evidence to the contrary everywhere I looked.
Mhm.
Every other commercial, it felt, and it's probably not every other, but it sure felt like it was a drug commercial. And then as soon as I heard the side effects, I was like, why on earth would anybody ever ask their doctor for that? Ever? with with the possible risks and the teeny sliver of a possibility of something positive that's offered on the commercial, uh, but with beautiful photos and people throwing a frisbee, or dog loving them up, or whatever. It's like, when I actually heard the words, I was just like, I don't know why anybody would ever do that. uh, so yeah, all this kind of evidence to the contrary of the companies and government wanting to keep me healthy, that just didn't seem like it was a true thing anymore. And then I was actually in TV production for
Mhm.
7 years, and sometimes we would do news stories, in the editing bay, and sit there with the producer for maybe a drug company, and and work on that commercial all day, and then have to sign a non-disclosure about what we did that day, and then go home and watch the news and see that news story run, and then see right after the news story the drug come in to be the solution to the fear that the story had created. And seeing that in person, um, made me a shut mainstream news off, because the more the more news we created that was purely fabricated, uh, the more I realized, like, what percentage of anything that's on there has truth, that this is happening, right? And so it made me want to shut the news off, and then it also made my who I trust factor very live, aware,
Mm.
keen, right? And I just decided to start tuning into my inner guidance instead of outer appearance, outer ads, outer words, outer um, expertise, right? I decided that I wanted to start tuning in here. And the more I tuned into what I call my BS meter is the word I'll use because we're this might go live on a on a place where I shouldn't say that, but my BS meter uh, was started to really be in tune, right? And
Mm.
then I could start to feel when things were off, like really feel when things were off, and a lot of things those were coming from having that TV on, and all the things that were coming at me there. So it's just a long way to say that nobody knows what's best for me and my body than my inner knowing, right? And following that, and ultimately following that is how I found all the teachers that master teachers that I've worked with, all the incredible functional medical practitioners that helped me along the way, that led me to you, that led me to Karen, that led me to doing this film, right? It's all been guided by the part of me that already knows what to do before I ask the question, right? Who to call before I pick up the phone. Uh, tune into that inner part of me that already knows.
Yeah. So I've heard you say many times that there there's always an answer for every question, and it comes from the inside.
Yeah, yeah, and I love to teach sit, ask, and listen. For those of you who haven't heard it, there's a lot of people sitting, right? Meditation, prayer, just sitting, um, asking questions. God, universe, what should I do? Asking, and then the third part, listen. That's the part that uh, really didn't. I didn't wasn't really receiving the answers till I started listening for the answer to the one question that I just asked, and staying in the one question until I received the answer to the question that I asked. Because I mean, I'm a entrepreneur. I was like had shiny object syndrome big time. So I would sit down and ask a question. Didn't get the answer in 2 minutes. Okay, I guess I didn't get the answer, and go on to the next thing, and think that spirit, God, universe, my inner knowing, whatever you want to call it, was letting me down, right? Sometimes I needed to listen for longer than 2 minutes. So I found that if I stayed in the one question until I received the answer, I always received the answer to every question. And a lot of those questions were about business, were about the, the next important thing I should do, were about my health, were about the most important things. And I could always get the answer. It was just about that last part, staying in the one question instead of getting diverted off to somewhere else. So that means even if I had to get up and leave, stop sitting, I didn't stop asking, right? So I get up, I have to leave. I would just keep spinning the one question over and over again, like a mantra in my head, waiting, say, ask again, waiting, driving, ask again, waiting. Just stay in that one question. And in doing so, I've received answer after answer after answer after answer.
Mhm.
Also have a lot of people who have worked that process into their life as well, and that was the changing uh, grace for me, for my business, for my life, and for my health.
Wow, that was similar for me when I was facing cancer. Was yeah, at first my questions were like, why is this happening to me? What's wrong with me? Why can't I get this to work? What's wrong with my body? Why is my body doing this to me? And then I realized that I actually didn't really want those answers. Like, I wanted a better quality answer. So I realized I better ask a better quality question. So instead of being in victim mode, why me? Why is this happening to me? What's wrong with me? I started to ask better quality questions. And the one that really got some extremely beneficial answers was, what do I need to know about this in order for it to change?
Mm.
And I sat in that question. It took me a long time sitting in that question. But one day in meditation, in that question, I finally got my mind quiet enough, because when the mind is running around, you can't get answers through that. The
Yeah.
soul is in the stillness. So
Mm.
if we've got those thoughts running back and forth and back and forth, and we're pulled back and forth and back and forth, we can't access that higher consciousness. But one day when I was sitting in that meditation, I just got really, really still. And what do I need to know? Boom, right there. Hey, Lisa, your body's not being attacked by cancer. Your body is doing exactly what it's designed to do. It's functioning perfectly. And in that
Mm.
moment, my consciousness creates my reality.
Mm.
Like, my body is following my consciousness. I
Mm.
don't have to fix my body. I have to change my consciousness. And from that day on, game on, all about shifting consciousness. I
Mm.
didn't have to heal my body. My body healed itself. As soon as I wrapped my consciousness around the fact that there is no enemy, there is nothing attacking us, that our bodies are following our consciousness. It
Mm.
was time to start clearing out the energy field that's generating all those thoughts, the fear, the doubt, the guilt, the shame, the blame, all of that stuff that I had been carrying since childhood. All those energies had to go. So all those thought patterns would go with that. And once
Mm.
all that was cleared out, I could trust my body, and healing happened, and a much better quality life emerged.
One of my mentors, Terry Cole Whitaker, she used to say, "We just need to change our stinking thinking." That
Exactly.
cracked me up. Stinking thinking. Uh,
Right?
and back when Mara and I were doing, like relationship work with people, that's where we really noticed how many people were asking why questions, and we were just like, "Ooh, we never really want the answer to a question that starts with why," because the universe doesn't know any way to answer it other than to go, "Yeah, why?" and keep giving you reasons to ask the question again.
Unless you ask the
It's
questions
like,
like, why is this so fantastic? Why is my life so magical? That's a good
even
one.
even then though, it just goes okay, and it keeps giving you reasons to ask why, right?
Yeah, why does it keep getting better and better than
Right?
this?
Why
It keeps
is my
getting
life
better
so
because here.
yeah, but those victimy why questions. Whew,
Right? Exactly.
I love you say you don't want the answer to that question. So true. So I
Yeah.
just started asking like how and what, looking at I just the way I had to kind of reframe that because all my why questions were negative, right? Was okay, then how, what, how can I be more loving? What do I need? What can I learn from this? What is my next step? What right? I just kind of stayed away from that word for a while. uh, till I heard another version of what you were saying. Some I know one who says, "How does it get even better than this?" And I loved that question.
Yeah.
How does it get even better than this? Like, yeah, the universe is like, oh, yeah, how does it? Here, let's try that. Let's try that. Let's try that. How's it going? How's it going? Good. Tell me, give me feedback, right? Tell me, give me feedback. And that's the way the universe works. Right? So we're knowing that, we're gonna stream this movie live for million people, right? And then all of those people are gonna tell other people, have you seen this? Like I actually learned something from a film, right? When did that happen last, right? For you, right? Check it out. You might learn something from this, or I learned this, or can I recommend this, right? We know that it's just going to be shared and shared and shared and grow from there, and go all over the world, and seeing that, envisioning that, feels so great. Right? Feels so great because it's like you'll take what you want, and toss the rest. There's no agenda to trying to prove anything to you, or force a narrative. It's a lot of people speaking about what they know to be true. And again, they have a lot more initials after their name than I do. So I don't claim to be the expert of anything, but I sure did learn a lot and have learned to apply a lot of the things that I learned in this movie. So all of that is exciting.
It is indeed. This is the time of the Great Awakening. This is the time that's been foretold for thousands upon thousands of years, when humanity shifts to a new timeline, to a new way of being on this planet. And this is one of the tools that will be used to help humanity wake up, to see that the power is within. The power isn't in a pill, it's in here, it's in our own consciousness, because we're
Yeah,
each generating our own reality, and the
yeah,
quality of our experiences depends on the quality of our thoughts, the quality of our beliefs, the quality of our energy field, and we
yeah,
have to take that into consideration.
yeah. And that's the thing that mainstream media kind of instills in us is, we become a quick fix society, a get rich quick scheme kind of society.
Mm.
Everything fast, right? Everything fast. Commercials are fast. Everything's pew 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 pew, and they're trying to teach us that everything that's worthwhile comes quickly, and nothing could be further from the truth. I mean, ultimately, a healing can come in an instant,
Mhm.
but getting your consciousness to the point where you could accept a healing that fast is not a quick process.
Mhm.
You would have to sit, ask, and listen, baby steps over and over again to prove little teeny things first. Oh, wow. Okay. So I actually did create that. Actually, whoa, I thought that and it happened, right? All of these things you learned about in the film is like you have to get to the point where you could believe I can be healed in this moment. And that's really what happened with my aunt, getting that 2 week uh, diagnosis. You have 2 weeks to live. She was just like, oh, okay, right. we'll come
Right.
we'll, we'll come back in 2 weeks and take all your tests and see how we're doing then. So it was like challenge accepted. So, right, so she did it in 2 weeks, and so whether it happened on day one or in that second that she said challenge accepted, she just kind of went within their framework of the time that they said so that she could prove it to them, right? And it's funny because people ask me like, so what did she do in that 2 weeks? And I'm like, all right, she told me the story after I was 7, 8, so I didn't pick her brain about what she did. But knowing her, she's definitely a woman of faith. So I know that she was praying, believing that she would receive a healing from her deity that she put her faith in, right? So then again, she got to the point where she could accept that she could be healed instantly. And, and at whatever point that clarity came in that 2 weeks, whether it was that second or right before she walked in or somewhere along the way, it happened. And it was completely gone. And they could find no evidence whatsoever, which was the opposite of what they'd seen the 2 weeks before. And ultimately the piece that you gave me and reminded me of, right? Reminded me of that change your story. I mean, you have a story about that, you're going to keep having it as long as you're telling that story, for one thing. Right? And then actually everything is completely the opposite what you've been taught. So get jiggy with that. And then, right, then work with affirmations, then all the other pieces that I did to get me to the point where I was like, oh, got it. And then it left me too. So it's we can tell this story so many different ways. I went to see a functional medical practitioner, and they did their tests, and then they gave me these natural remedies, and then I did these natural remedies, and then I had the appearance of a healing. Right? Was it the remedies? Was it the belief in the remedy? Was it the functional medical practitioner? Was it the belief in the medical practitioner? These are just some of the questions that we'll be asking in the film and leaving you to decide on your own. But there's so much evidence that it's an inside job, right? How the body heals itself. Could the body be set up in a way that it can actually heal itself and that we didn't actually need any of that outer stuff? Right? Could the could all of that, anything that we need, actually be right here in this vessel? Wow, that's something interesting to look at. Right? And that we do in many different ways for about 2 hours. And that's what's so cool and exciting about the film. There's many different teachers sharing many different ways, and it's about tuning into who's the one or ones, or what are the ways for you that resonate. Because if it happens as you believe, then that's the only thing that matters when you watch the film, is what you take away from it, is what resonates with you, is which teacher you feel like you would like to work with, which one you feel connected to and want to get their book, or right. That's the most important piece that I really resonated with, and got so much from the film, and seeing people watch it. Right? Because we did screenings some screenings along the way, with live audiences, and the feedback has been incredible for the film.
Yeah, and we'll be doing a live public preview this weekend in Lake Placid for anyone who is traveling to Lake Placid for Father's Day weekend. Come and see the movie.
Yeah.
6 p.m. Lake Placid, New York, Palace Theater. Main
Yes, that's gonna be exciting. It's this weekend, huh? Woo!
Tonight, actually, when this goes live, it will be tonight.
Nice. That's exciting
Yeah, it will
for
be very
the
exciting.
public.
Yeah, it'll be really exciting to see. how people enjoy the movie, and be able to hear the live feedback and the questions and answers, and it'll be
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah.
See
Yeah.
ourselves up on the big screen.
The big one.
Woo! Gosh, big.
Exciting. It's kind of cool. The screen's gotten like larger and larger and larger as I go. The first ones were on TVs that were, good size. People have flat screens now, and then it seems like the screen just got a little bigger. And then the last one that we did was on a projector, and that was bigger than any of the TVs. And then now it's in the theater. So cool. And the premiere will be streamed online, and so you can watch it in your home on your however big your television is, right? So that's the way that'll be done. And so that's kind of what's so exciting about this particular screening and seeing it, because I'm not putting it in theaters, because theaters would want money and they would want to charge you for it, right? And we're not doing that. This film is free of charge. It's for you. We want you to be able to access it, and even what they charge to get in a theater these days might take someone out from being able to see the movie, right? So I'd rather have it available to you to watch for free and to share with all the people that so that they can access it. Right, so that's why we did that. I want to make sure that anyone can access it, no matter what their budget is.
That's so cool. That's a beautiful thing to do for humanity, to let people see it. And so
Yeah.
so everybody, make sure you go to theinsideeffects.com and sign up to get notified as to how you can stream it for free on your home device.
Yes.
And this is going to go live through the world on July 8th. Is that correct?
July 8th. Yes. 7 p.m. Eastern time. That's New York time. So
Ooh.
adjust the time accordingly. And yeah, July 8th, that's Saturday night. Just wanted to have it on the weekend so nobody had to work. Like, I have to work or I have to rush home. So just put it on your calendar, pop some popcorn, sit down, have a watch party, right? Maybe get together with a whole bunch of your friends. And that would be the funnest, most incredible way to see this film, because after the screenings that we did, there were a number of them with a group of people, and it was just so fun to watch them interact and talking to each other about the film. And then, because I was there, then they turned some questions to me, but it seems like at the beginning of those, it was them talking to each other, right? And seeing that feedback in real time and that's what I look forward to hearing about, the discussions that happen after the film. Right, what did you learn? Oh, my favorite part was this, and me too, me too. you know and what do you think about that? Well, I need to research that.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite part. There was we did a screening in Texas, and there was a guy who said, that one part, and I was like, oh, here we go. Right, what's he gonna say? He says, man, I really really can't wait to dive in and research that. I love to research things, and I hadn't really heard about that, so I will be researching that. And he was excited, right? He was excited to roll up his sleeves and get into researching something, because he had felt like he had been presented with something he had never really heard of before.
Mhm.
I'm that excited. and and I was just like, yes, yes, because that's what happened for me, right? Making the film. So to see that shift happen in real time within him was powerful.
Indeed. Yeah, I hope that people will watch this with an open heart and an open mind, and allow ourselves to learn things. For so long I lived in a state of kind of I don't know, not really intellectual superiority kind of, but it was like, like, oh, I know all of this stuff, like I already know this stuff and I already know this
Right.
stuff. And
Right.
then after a while I was like, especially with this, when I went through my own healing process, and I was like, well, I thought I knew about diseases and cancer and stuff, and it was like I just knew that I didn't want it in my life, and I just knew that that was never going to be my story. But then when it started to happen, I was like, well, wait a second, why me? Why did this happen to me? And then all of a sudden it was like, all right, I'm going to take command of this. Like, I created this situation. Like, I know that I'm the creator. I don't know
Yeah.
how I created this. I didn't do it on purpose, but if I created it, I can uncreate it. And
Yeah.
it's my job to clean up my own mess. Like,
Mm.
it was completely
Wow.
clear to me that,
That's
hey,
powerful.
it it's on me. So I didn't go looking for other people to fix me. It was like, this is my mess to clean up. And once I learned how to clean up my mess, then it was like, hey, I see how this was all created and I don't have to create this again. I can just move forward and start creating really cool stuff instead of creating messes all the time.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I was creating disaster after disaster until I realized, like, hey, I could create much better quality life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned like feeling like you knew it all because my wife and I are book publishers, and we probably the first 50 books we published were functional medical practitioners of all sorts, right?
Wow.
So I had learned a lot, a lot, and so I had no idea how much was available for me to still learn,
Right?
and that happened during this film, and because I was open to that, I feel if I was like, oh, I already know this, then I would have just attracted people who taught what I know.
Right?
So if I'm the producer and I'm the director, then everything is a reflection of where I'm at, right? If I'm the creator, then I want to create learning something new. Like, why would I do it if I wasn't going to learn something new? So what would that look like? Right? What would that look like? And so that's why it was like, wow, 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 wow. I kept attracting people with initials behind their name that I never even heard of, or and I decided I wanted not only doctors that I knew what a DO was, right? I knew what an MD was. I knew what a PhD was. I knew those. Uh, However, I also wanted people that like research was their thing, where science was their thing. I'm a believe in spirit, God, universe, but what if we had someone who absolutely didn't believe in that, who was a scientist? What would they say about the same subject? So to have all different people from all different fields to come in and weigh in on the same answers, like for me, that's what I was excited about.
Mm.
Like, because one of the questions is, talk about connection to source in regards to healing. And I ask a scientist that, right? A researcher. So connection to source, right? So imagine what that answer is, what you get to hear. It was just the most fun and powerful, enlightening experience to do this film and have all even different answers within the same question, and then that there was just so much in what you shared. It's just like, oh, I'm trying to remember it all. And then one of the things that you share about in the film is thought viruses. And that is such a powerful piece. And watching people receive that information when you say it, like live in the room, has been incredible. It's like, I feel like people they really, like, they've known it. They just didn't know how to put words on it. Right. And those two words, man, just seem to land and resonate with a large percentage of the room. And you can hear just like like almost a gasp the first time that you say it, right? Thought radishes. That's what's happening. It's like, oh, 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 oh. So yeah, so much powerful information in this film to learn. All of us
Yeah.
to learn.
Once I realized that, our thoughts do generate our reality to a great degree, that's part of what it is. It's the thoughts and the thoughts, the emotions, the energy. And once I realized, like, I can change my thoughts. I can change what I think about.
Hmm.
That's like a huge thing. And, you know,
Right.
to be open, I've pretty much let go of everything that I think I know. And, I just open up. Like, what else is there to know? Like, what else can I learn? What better quality thoughts are there for me to think? What better subjects could I focus on? And, I realized that when I used to watch the news all the time, you know, I realized suddenly that it's all bad news all the time. Like, it never makes me feel good. Never would I leave
Right.
the news going, "Yeah, this is great."
Feels so
It's
good right
always
now.
just like, "Oh my god." I
I'm
thought,
so glad I watched it.
this is insane. Like, why do
Yeah.
we put ourselves through this when there's so much better quality information out there to focus on? And when I started just focusing on the things that really lit me up and that I knew were coming from source, my entire life just went up like a whole bunch of notches, and it became so much happier, so much easier, so much more free and flowing and healthy.
Yeah. Yeah. My ask with this film for anyone who watches it is to watch the whole thing from beginning to end, because it's like each piece builds off of the last, right? And the journey all the way to the end piece, that wraps up the film. It's all together. It's all one thing. And then I just come in at the end and say, okay, now you've heard all these incredible people, and so take what you love and keep it, and toss the rest. I just did. We don't have any attachment to being right. We just wanted to present you with the information, and again have you feel into that part of you that knows the answer to these questions that we've answered, presented or answered, because sometimes even more questions will come from the answers. And then how you take that question and don't turn it into a why victim question, but turn it into a what am I to learn about that, or how will I find the answer to that for me, right? Then we know that the answers will be provided.
Exactly. Well, it's such a beautifully done film. I'm so excited about it. I'm so pleased for you to have been able to make your dream come true like
Yeah.
this. It's really
Yeah.
very inspiring to see that. And I'm excited to see how the world embraces this film because it's really well done, and the editing was phenomenal. And I'm I'm really excited for the whole thing, and I'm very pleased to be a part of it. Thank you so much for making a film that's up my alley.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you for being in the film, being the inspiration, and having me on Solution Sunday. And we will looking forward to seeing all of you on July 8th. And go to theinsideeffects.com and put your name and email address in so that I can send you the information of how to view the film live for free. We're going to watch the film all together at the same time, and then come back for some Q&A afterwards. So people will be able to post their questions, and we'll take a few of those. We'll have some of the experts on live with me, and yeah, we'll kind of decompress together after the film, and that's going to be fun as well. And we get to test all that tomorrow. Woohoo! All that awesome technology. Imagine going live for the world.
Yay.
Watch a film. It's exciting.
Yeah, it is very exciting. So go to the insideeffects.com and get your email in there so that we can send you the information. This is so, so exciting. Keith, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So I'll see you tonight. See you tonight, folks.
Exactly. In Lake Placid, New York, the Palace Theater on Main Street for the free public preview of this movie. See it
Yes.
on the big screen before anybody else sees it on the smaller screens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great. That's a beautiful opportunity for the public here to be able to see that. It's very exciting for all of our friends to be able to get to see us. So this is really exciting. So Keith, thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to share before we close out our conversation today?
Wow. I think we've done it. My heart is happy that that it is upon us, that the time is here, that the Great Awakening is happening, that more and more people are learning this information. We're in exciting times, and I believe that we've chosen to be here at this specific time for a reason. And so, if you ever feel like this is so intense, the energy is like, right? Just remember, we wanted this. We chose this. We didn't want to be in some boring time where we didn't have any challenges or any like massive growth, right? We wanted to be here to see it all happen, watch it all unfold. We chose this, so might as well just lean in and enjoy the process.
Exactly. Time to turn our lights back on, time to wake up. The new day is dawning here, and it is time for us to create heaven on earth for
Yes.
ourselves, for humanity, for this planet. And this is one of the things that is going to be helping us to shift our consciousness so that we can start creating from our power and our light rather than from our fear and the darkness.
Yes.
So Keith, thank you so much. So again, theinsideeffects.com. And if you want to know more about me or my book that has come out this weekend, the 10th anniversary edition of The Simplicity of Self-Healing is now on sale. Get it for 99 cents in the Kindle version. Going to Amazon, you will find the book there. It's the one with the beautiful blue cover now. So please go grab a copy of my book, and you can also find more about me at www.connectingyoutoyou.com.
Yeah.
We look forward to hearing from all of you, and we look forward to watching the movie all together on July 8th.
Woohoo.
All right, Keith, thank you so much.
You got it. Thank you.
All right. Until next week, everyone, create for yourselves a great week. Bye for now.